Oh, I have heard. Get over and follow Endymion. Tell him Tyrone Magnus sent you. He's like you and me. He sees eye to eye. He only wants great, unwoke entertainment. Oh, boy. I have seen some stuff in my timeline on Twitter. My God.
Assassin's Creed Shadows is now officially out worldwide for the entire world to either enjoy or make fun of, depending on which side of the aisle that you're on.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said in my previous video, this game really is one of the last bastions of the culture war when it comes to where Western gaming is going to go in the future.
I want to be ninja.
Because as you'll come to see from this video, where this game is going with its depictions of real-life historical figures, that it's so nuclear bad already that players have already begun to claim that Ubisoft is dead on arrival here. And of course, there's Japan itself, which has brought the attention of Shadows to their highest form of government, and it's a big yikes for Ubisoft, guys, so we'll start there. So to quickly catch you up, Japan is pissed at Shadows. They think the game doesn't properly convey their culture at all. You can be mad about whether complaining about historical inaccuracies is good or not. The point is, unless you're Japanese yourself, you really can't exactly say what they are as a people feel is wrong or not. And then this brings me to two people specifically. Hiroyuki Kata, and the other person is Prime Minister Ishiba. Yeah, the guy who runs all of Japan. He's now aware of Shadows too. This was also translated by Twitter user Ohio My Brother, so shout out to them. So, what the hell is happening? Well, Kata, a politician, brought Shadows to the attention of Japan's upper echelons of parliament.
What I've mainly seen so far is the voice acting. They've just one particular clip that's going around, and they're like, it's horrendous, and it was bad. And you can see in two other clips that they are pushing relationships. Yeah.
Recently, claiming that the game does not depict their society, culture, or really anything with accuracy. Some of the concerns that Kata brought to the National Diet was that Shadows allowed things like shrines to be destroyed, and that many religious artifacts were being included in the game that were neither consulted or given permission to exist in the game by anyone. Ubisoft just kind of put them in there, and that's it. This then led to the Vice Minister of Economy Trade stating that the unauthorized use of real-life locations within Japan that are in Shadows to be grossly unacceptable, as Ubisoft did not consult anyone who actually takes care of these shrines and such to help depict them in the game. This brings us to another problem that the National Diet brought concern to, which was that they are afraid of, as Insider Gaming reported here as well, that Japan's government is actually afraid of imitation attacks due to things like Assassin's Creed Shadows existing. So what do they mean by that?
Oh,
well, as Hiroyuki Nata, the guy who initially brought this to the attention of Japanese government, said himself about this, in the game, the samurai protagonist smashes drums, sacred mirrors, and altars inside the worship hall of a shrine that appears under its real name. He slashes at people who appear to be priests, shoots arrows, and engages in other violent mayhem. When I asked the chief priest, he said that the game company had not contacted the shrine to ask for permission to use the name. The issue is that Japan's government is worried that if people who are stalwart defenders of things like disrespecting the culture of other nations, which is a big problem by the way, it's called tourist pollution if you need an exact term to describe it, it pretty much is a problem that many Asian countries have had to deal with for a while now. A high-profile version of this tourist pollution is Johnny Somali, who I don't really need to explain, but I'm sure you know all about him. And
oh, I wouldn't have if it wasn't for Yellow Flash. I don't know. I think he's mentally ill. You can't do all those things with rational mind, healthy mind, and think that it's okay and think you can get away with it. That's all I have to say.
Now he's been charged with crimes and attacking locals and more for pretty much causing havoc and mayhem within all of these Asian countries for content. Johnny Somali is a genuine idiot, and I think that guy deserves all the hate that he's getting. Because he clearly doesn't care for what he's done to these countries and their people at all. He just wants the content
seem to
for
care
views.
at all.
And let's not forget that at least when this video does come out, that currently there is a alarming string of imitation attacks on Tesla products as well. We're talking about whole cars that are being keyed or damaged or downright burned down in protest of Elon Musk. So while you might say, oh, it's just a video game or whatever else.
Did you hear about them doxing Tesla owners? Like, what the hell is going on, man? The party of love and acceptance.
Else, you need to realize that if you get enough idiots to believe in something, they will act in moronic ways. Now, will Ubisoft sue those people who could perform these imitation attacks, or is it only harassment if it affects their employees? We know the answer, but anyway, the Prime Minister of Japan said this as well. It is absolutely unacceptable to graffiti a shrine. It is nothing but an insult to the country. It is natural to have respect for the culture and religion of a country. And I think it is important to send out the message that we will not tolerate any behavior that does not respect the culture and religion of a country and will not tolerate it. And I think this is a big deal because what Ubisoft has done here with Shadows has even started to affect publicly accessible information spots like Wikipedia, where Yasuke is listed as a real samurai when in reality that is not true at all. And in actuality, he was just some guy that was bought for being black. I mean, unfortunately, that is what happened. And then he was given back to his slave owners once the guy who bought him got betrayed and killed. Some may think this doesn't matter, but yeah, it matters a lot actually. Speaking of publicly altering real-life things to make your game seem more legit, this is where we get into big yikes territory.
I can't even seem to find the full truth on Yasuke when I did my research. I just don't know. I know he existed. I know he was there. But it seems to even be, whether he was a samurai or not, it seems to just be up in the air. Some say he was, some say he wasn't.
So, some context. In Shadows, you can romance people. They've done this in previous games.
Here we go.
Here, it's egregious to say the least. Both Naoe and Yasuke have access to a straight romance, as in one romance being heterosexual, and the rest are basically gay or non-binary, which, isn't that also gay? I don't know, man, it's all nonsense to me. Anyway, as if Ubisoft couldn't screw up things enough, it actually turns out that Yasuke's main love interest, as in his canon love interest, because yes, there's actually a mode in-game that you can turn on that automatically selects what Ubisoft considers to be the right choices for each character pretty much. Anyway, Yasuke's canon choice for romance is none other than Lady Oichi, which is, oh man, okay, where do we even begin with this?
I've heard.
So, even more context for people that don't know, Lady Oichi, I'm probably saying her name wrong, I apologize, was the younger sister of Oda Nobunaga, the same guy who bought Yasuke in real life and then paraded him around as a pet to his friends. That's real, look it up. Oichi has appeared in many other video games too. Here she is in Nioh 2, for example, as a character, and here she is as well in Samurai Warriors. That's the Japanese spin-off series from the Dynasty.
The clip I saw, she looks quite differently in Shadows.
The Warriors developers. Lady Oichi was widely considered to be one of the most beautiful women in Japan when she was alive during that time. She was what can only be described as a real-life princess, pretty much. We're talking elegant, beautiful, strong, compassionate, and loved by her people. Oda Nobunaga even once said, according to historical records, that if Oichi was born a man, she would have been an excellent warrior. She lived to be around 35 or 36 years old before she died. Oichi did die alongside her husband, a lord, when their castle was sieged by rival forces. She also sent her 3 daughters, who all ended up becoming prominent historical figures in their own right in Japan's history, away from the castle to live on in her name. Oichi was, as you can see, an extremely loyal woman who was devoted to her husband, Shibata Katsui. Oichi did also have a husband before Katsui, and that other guy's name was Azai Nagamasa, who died very early in his life, around age 26 or 27. Regardless, Oichi was devoted to her husband, and like I said, was historically recorded to have sacrificed herself to save her children and die with her beloved. This woman is apparently the canon love interest of Yasuke, if you can believe it. And you're probably wondering, how the hell is she the canon love interest of Yasuke if she dies with her husband? Well, it turns out in the game she likes Yasuke more than her own husband in secret and basically cheats on him repeatedly to keep Yasuke close to her because he's the real man that she really wants. Forget about history. Don't believe me? Well, here's their romance scene. Please watch.
This isn't the one I
Here
saw.
we are, alone at last.
No, I saw one in the forest.
Yes, I don't know what to
Okay,
I do.
this isn't the character I saw.
Someone once
I
said it
saw
like
something
this.
else.
You
So I
are
guess that's
Daimyo's
coming up.
daughter, and I am just a samurai.
say. Not just. Never just.
Lady Oishi, I have learned something in my battles. Time is a veil. Tomorrow is an illusion.
And all we have left is here and now.
Yep, that's right, fellas. Ubisoft straight up bended history to make one of the most prominent women in Japan at this time fall in love with the legendary black samurai that was never actually a samurai to begin with. People who know and love Japanese history have, well,
It's
they haven't
historical
taken this
fiction.
well for obvious reasons.
It's okay.
As Dr. Alaric Nade puts it here, who has been very vocal about the historical inaccuracies surrounding this game, here's what he said about Yasuke banging Lady Oichi of all people. Ubisoft portrays Oichi as being sexually interested in Yasuke even though she was already married. This is ridiculous. Furthermore, Yasuke refers to himself as just a samurai, which makes it seem as though samurai is not an important position. It also makes him extremely disrespectful and ungrateful towards his brother, Oda Nobunaga. Of course, we know Yasuke was not really a samurai. This contradiction is just too much. This is definitely, probably, one of the more egregious historical reimaginings by Ubisoft. They literally bent space and time to force their black samurai to become the savior of Japan and even make him somehow be able to sleep with pretty much one of the most powerful Japanese women of their time, behind her husband's back, by the way, who was also a samurai and a general of war, by the way, too. This is so sacrilegious. If this was even murmured to have happened, Yasuke would have been quartered, dude. Straight up. Same with Oichi. Dr. Alaric Nade also had this to say: Lady Oichi is an ancestress of the current emperor, and she was known for being extremely devoted to her husband. This is very disrespectful.
People
Ubisoft
are mad.
is serious, man. But wait, it gets worse. There's Naoe too. So like Yasuke, Naoe also has a canon love interest. What do you think it is? Is it a man or is it a woman? Who are we kidding? Of course it's a woman. This is Ubisoft and westernized slot people. You thought
I
now...
could have swore the clip that I saw as I was scrolling was fake. I thought it was like AI, a fan parody. It's not. They go at it.
Naoe would be straight canon-wise. What are you? Someone who wants historical accuracy in your history game? Get your head out of your ass, fellas. Naoe loves to slay the poon as much as she does other bad guys. Don't believe me? Here's Naoe making out with Katsuhine.
Lust is a journey of 1,000 steps that begins with a kiss.
Going at it. The question is there any historical record of her being lesbian?
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next.
Are you having fun yet, people? No? What's that? You want more? You want more romance scenes to ruin your day? Okay, fine. I
Here we
can
go.
do more.
Next,
what if I told you that
Yasuke.
Yasuke can romance a guy who says that he's non-binary? Let me ruin your day even further? Please watch this.
I do not think I've ever seen you quite so tongue-tied.
Not yet, at least. I hope you aren't easily chilled.
I thought that this was supposed to be a manly
Do you
looking
think
woman.
someone might see
This is
us?
what I thought.
Maybe.
But no. That's a man, baby.
Do you care?
Not at all.
I think I have an email just came through here.
And then get
There
excited
we
for
go.
next.
Wow, that was pretty awful, wasn't it?
Nah,
You want to see another
false
love
alarm,
interest
thought I had
scene
an
between
email.
Naoi and Ken and love interest? Well, you guys are glutted for punishment. You also want to see some cringe dialogue? Get strapped in, fellas. That's a lesbian joke, by the way. Here's some more cringe.
Watch where you point that thing.
What's wrong, Igahime? Does my teppo make you nervous?
You should have had it lower
I
so he
like
could have seen his
dangerous
face going.
What about dangerous women?
Even better.
We'll see.
Oh yeah, that's not all. Here's a scene where Yasuke romances his gay romance companion. I'm just torturing you guys at this point.
Wait, what? Yeah.
Oh boy. Please watch this too.
Oh, I saw this clip earlier too. He asked him, could he look into his eyes to see his soul or something?
More than worthy. In this moment we have shared.
Not to see
Will
his
be
soul.
mine.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of romance scenes. Isn't it incredible how we went from games like the first Assassin's Creed where they got rid of the crossbow in the CGI trailer because it wasn't historically accurate, to now where you're in Japan playing the big gay black samurai or this lesbian Naoi chick who was never a samurai smashing non-binary bussy, but can also romance the literal daughter of the emperor with zero repercussions, and you can also destroy historical sites and cut down shrine maidens
Then
as if
versus
they're nothing but
now.
obstacles in your way? To
Then
say that Assassin's
versus
Creed is
now.
pretty cooked would be an understatement, fellas. It's beyond any imagination when it comes to what Ubisoft has done here to their flagship series. And it's so evidently obvious that they have 100% been infiltrated by woke activists. I reported on so much of this already in the past. My sources told me, man, watch out, they're gonna make Assassin's Creed into a badly written...
Yo, how she threw him in there was
They
funny.
said, you lie. There's no way. But lo and behold, as I just subjected you to multiple... multiple...
Never heard him
multiple
laugh
torture
before.
scenes after torture romance scenes. Also...
He doesn't look like he laughs like this.
Oh, this game is incredible, which was all made and paid by Ubisoft themselves. I'm not kidding, guys. I told you this game was cooked, and now people have no choice but to believe me now. Oh, it's glorious to see. But what can you expect? I mean, Access Media is coping so hard for Shadows, it's kind of crazy. Take this review from VG247, where they gave Shadows a flawless 100 out of 100, and their review
Yeah, we
says,
believe you.
there are problems with Assassin's Creed Shadows for sure, but it's so fun to play. It's telling a gripping story, and there is so much sense of progress and reward for every little thing you do that it actually feels like an open world game that's taking its cues from a modern roguelike or something. Wow, there are...
You know what I have to say, though, with all these different reviews? They always come from one person in the group. Like, at the company, IGN will have a review go up, but it's one person reviewing it. So I think we have to be fair in knowing that it could be the company's stance that this review is our stance as a company. But it could just be like, no, this is one of our editors, this is one of our reviewers that's writing this review, and that's it. You know what I mean? But when you talk about it, you say, well, IGN gave it a 10 or a 9 or 8. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, this person at IGN gave it that. You know what I mean? So I think we should be fair with that. However, the way people look at it mostly is your company. This review represents what your company gave it. They don't say Matt Hawkins at IGN gave it the no. What they say is IGN gave it. Or Metacritic has that this. Or, you know what I mean? Kotaku, you know what I mean?
Problems with Shadows, but also ignore those guys. It's still perfect. How the hell did you just open your review with there's flaws and then gave it a flawless score? How does that make any sense? The shilling is just off the charts here. How about the fact that many of the reviews failed to tell you that this game has, you guessed it, a battle pass. In your fully priced AAA game, there's an entire battle pass to grind as well. Granted, allegedly, this first battle pass is free, but the expectation here is that as content releases for the game, that paid battle passes will become available as well. So you can grind your single-player game on a battle pass like it's Fortnite. Also, I was looking at the trophies for the game. Apparently, if your game loses connection to Ubisoft servers, it stops tracking trophies, and no, I'm not kidding you. So if you are late in the game and do some mission and complete a story moment that should award a trophy or achievement, but you for whatever reason lose connection to Ubisoft servers, you will now lose that trophy and will have to play the whole game again to make it pop. Wonderful. I love that. I love having always online requirements for my single-player RPG game where I can't play with my friends or even do co-op yet. But I'm so glad that my experience can be made even worse because Ubisoft servers could go down at any minute while I'm playing it. Let's be real, if the servers go down randomly, then I'll just stop playing the game because why risk losing a trophy, right? What a stupid decision on their part, man. Actual brain dead takes. If your game is single player, just let people play it like it's intended to be played. And I bet the reason why it's always online is because of that stupid battle pass, isn't it? So you can unlock pointless stuff in-game you'll never use outside of a very few things. I'm going to be honest, I'd rather just not have a battle pass at all and just be able to enjoy my game offline with no issues, personally. But then again, I grew up with video games when they weren't propaganda humiliation rituals, so what do I know? I just don't think I'm the target audience anymore, if I'm being honest, and I also found posts like this funny where this guy says that the incel edition of Shadows would star a hot Asian woman and a white guy, first of all, based, but this dude unironically self-owned Shadows without realizing it himself. Because in actuality, if Shadows starred William Adams, it would have at least been historically accurate, because unlike Yasuke, who did literally nothing, William Adams actually was a foreigner who came to Japan and actually became a real-life samurai and had a home and a Japanese wife and had kids and...
Is that the Tom Cruise movie, The Last Samurai? Is that what who he portrays?
All of that stuff too. And this has actual historical evidence to back all of this up, unlike Yasuke. By the way, the main character of the first Neo game is based on William Adams too. He was an Englishman that specialized in shipbuilding, astronomy, and naval warfare, and even served in the Royal Navy at that time too. And in 1598, William Adams was hired to lead a fleet of 5 ships to the Far East. The mission wasn't to go to Japan specifically. The mission was kind of just to go find silver and spices from all the other countries they could meet, and then bring them back to Europe.
What I did there?
But the expedition was plagued with a ton of disasters, to put it lightly. Eventually, of these 5 ships, which were destroyed by the natural might of the sea, only William Adams' ship remained. He ended up being marooned on the coast of Japan and was taken in by the people there. William would then meet Tokugawa Ieyasu, the daimyo of the time, who would eventually become shogun. Yeah, the story of the show and book Shogun is based on William Adams arriving in Japan. Okay. Anyway, this guy would end up setting up trade routes with Japanese markets and basically connecting the West and East for a time. This all took place, by the way, around 1584-ish and beyond that, but the point is that if William Adams was chosen as Ubisoft's stranger in a strange land, it would have made far more sense for him to become a samurai and actually have a story in Assassin's Creed lore over that of Yasuke. Because unlike Yasuke, who did literally nothing, William Adams actually had cultural impact on Japan at large. For God's sakes, the guy had a mansion that was gifted to him by Ieyasu, who became the shogun at the time. Adams also married a Japanese woman named Oyuki and would have 2 children with her named Joseph and Suzuna. Adams would also remain in Japan for the rest of his life, learning their culture, their language, and serving as a loyal samurai retainer to Ieyasu. Here's a picture of William Adams' ship that still stands as a statue within Hirado, Nagasaki Prefecture, where William Adams lived nearby, obviously way back when. But this is real cultural impact. Adams actually had recorded lore that made sense for him to be the outsider character for a game like Shadows that would actually make sense. But we all know why he wasn't chosen, because 1, he's a white man, so that's a big no-no for Ubisoft these days, and 2, Adams was obviously a straight man who married a woman. Again, a big no-no, because this means we can't have our non-binary and gay romance options in our ass creep game. So shout out to Sardot, the gamer who self-owned his own point by trying to get a gotcha and proves that he knows absolutely nothing when it comes to Japanese culture or history whatsoever. And that he, alongside other dumbasses, are just morons who will literally eat any DEI slop that is thrown their way because they're low IQ dummies. If William Adams was in Shadows, literally nobody would argue with his inclusion. Nobody. Because you can't refute actual real historical facts. But the fact that they went with Yasuke deliberately is so dumb, it's honestly impressive. It's just incredible how little people know about real-life history and instead just spew random nonsense as gotchas. Like, if anyone thinks Yasuke was a superior option to William, you actually have brain damage. And you should have to take a test to show that you're smart enough to make decisions on your own going forward, because the amount of dumbassery in this world is starting to reach levels we once thought were impossible. We got gay black samurais filling the buns of they, them, servants, and shadows before Grand Theft Auto 6. That's
Did he just say filling the buns?
crazy, dude. Of course, even Hassan Piker, the terrorist lover who is a champagne socialist and lives in a $1 million home but wants you to eat the rich yet complains when he's taxed for his money, decided to open his stupid mouth on Shadows, where he said this on social media. The wildest meta online is content creators of every political background running targeted harassment operations in the ways that anonymous online forums used to, and masquerading it as accountability. Sending death threats to devs is not accountability. You should self-reflect. It's hilarious that Hassan Piker, of all people, is trying to paint the Shadows controversy in some virtuous way, and nobody I've seen has sent any death threats to any devs. He's just saying that. It's also funny because Hassan was recently banned, although briefly, for literally trying to gaslight his viewer base into killing a Republican politician because he disagreed with his views. And no, I'm not kidding.
I saw
So
the
anyone
clip.
who thinks that Hassan Piker is somehow good for online discourse is just funny to me. The guy is the biggest hypocrite of all. And if we all acted like Hassan wanted us to, we would all be trying to kill developers the same way he gaslights people into doing, while also playing literal terrorist propaganda to brainwash his fan base into becoming bigger extremists that I can't even show on YouTube. The point here is that I always love it when the moral compass of these types gets challenged by things like this, because they always show their true colors before long, and then prove exactly why they should not be trusted with even an iota of power, and the entire discourse surrounding not only Shadows, but even the Tesla stuff and more, shows how this rise in Western extremism is being purposely ushered.
I'm going to stop it here. I just wanted to see the tidal wave of wokeness that it had in it. I'm sure that's not all. Boy, thank you, Endymion. You did a good job there, sir. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. If you enjoyed my reaction and thoughts, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Woo! Assassin's Creed Shadows.